Hello, welcome to Farmers After Hours. This is our Meditation in Focus mini session with Kylie Rymanowicz of MSU Extension. Kylie, thanks so much for being a part of this and welcome today. Go ahead and take over.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad to be here today to talk about something that is really important in my life, which is like mindfulness and meditation. And just to sort of start by making sure we're all on the same page, like mindfulness is really being present in the moment. And that might seem like counterintuitive. How can we not be present in the moment? But it's essentially, not worrying about the future, not thinking about the past, but sort of noticing what's happening for you right now. That might be noticing how you're feeling, noticing the sensations that you're experiencing, or noticing what you're thinking in this very moment right now. A really great analogy for thinking about mindfulness and this sort of being present is imagining yourself standing next to a river and you're watching the water flow past you. And you might notice a stick or a log that's caught in the water, rolling around in front of you, moving past you. You notice it, you watch it as it goes by, and then it's gone and you're back to watching this water flow. Mindfulness is not turning your brain off. That's not really possible to do. It's sort of just slowing your brain down to be present in the moment. And meditation is a technique that can be really helpful in engaging in some mindfulness. We know that mindfulness practices can help us in many ways. They can help us relieve anxiety. They can help us manage stress. They can help us feel calmer, feel more regulated in our emotions or our feelings. They can also help us regulate our behavior, because if we feel calmer, we're less likely to make more rash decisions and to be more thoughtful in the behaviors that we're engaging in. But something that is also really important is that mindfulness can actually rewire our brains to respond to stress in different ways. So it helps you in the present moment to feel calm when you're feeling overwhelmed, but it also really helps us learn new ways to respond to stress. And I think that's really important, because sometimes we think that we're static, like things don't change. We're just always going to be the way that we are. But we can actually make changes in our brains that help us be able to manage stressful situations in ways that might be more beneficial or more healthy. Mindfulness is really important to me because I have had a panic disorder since I was a child, where I have a hard time with anxiety that often leads to panic attacks. And I didn't know what they were when I was a child. Nobody in my family had a name for that experience. We just thought Kylie was really high strung. Kylie was really stressed out all the time. Kylie was really worried. And once I became an adult and figured out that I actually was experiencing anxiety and these periods of panic attacks, the need to find some way to help me work through those became really big. And I had to find some ways to manage that. And so engaging in some mindfulness practices, including meditation, has been really helpful for me to be able to use it as a technique in the moment to manage myself when I'm having a panic attack, but also to help prevent panic attacks from happening, because I'm able to sort of center myself in the moment. So no matter who you are, whether or not you have an anxiety disorder, we all experience stress because we're humans, and that's sort of the nature of being a human. So mindfulness and meditation is a great way for anybody to sort of work on managing that stress, and then again, learning some tools to be able to handle that stress differently in the future. And when I say the word meditation, you might think of somebody wearing loose-fitting linen clothing, sitting in a fancy studio somewhere on a nice little pillow with chimes and bells. And that is meditation for a lot of people. But meditation doesn't have to be this very formal, fancy thing. It doesn't have to be in a fancy studio. Sometimes walking outside, taking deep breaths, and just existing in the moment, that's meditation. For me, a lot of my meditation happens in the woods. I really like to hike. And so being outside in the fresh air, paying attention to nature, watching a bunny hopping by on the trail next to me, taking a moment to slow myself down, to notice, to pay attention, to be in the moment, even that just for a minute or two can be an act of meditation. There are so many ways to engage in meditation, and you don't have to be a certain type of person. You don't have to have a certain type of life to engage in any of these techniques. You can find the ones that work best for you, because there are some techniques that work really well for some people and others that just don't work for other people. So for instance, there's a breathing technique called 5-finger breathing. Sometimes it's called a hand breathing, I think. And that one doesn't work well for me at all. but it works really well for other people that I know to help them have a minute of meditation and a minute of calm. So I'll demonstrate that technique really quickly. It's something you can practice with me wherever you are right now. But essentially, we're going to breathe in for a count of 5 using our fingers to help us count. And then we'll breathe out for a count of 5 as well and kind of bring our fingers back down. So we're just going to, wherever you are, find a comfortable spot to be. If you're standing or you're sitting, maybe give it a few little wiggles out, find a place to relax and be calm wherever you are. If you'd like to close your eyes, you can. And we'll just breathe in for 5. And out for 5. Let's do 2 more rounds together. Breathing in for 5. And out for 5. And in for 5. And out. Wherever you are, pause for just a moment and notice what you're feeling in your body right now. Hopefully, you're feeling a sense of calm, sort of like a quiet after a storm, where your body and your brain have had a chance to just sort of be still for a moment. We often don't give ourselves permission to slow down and permission to be still because we're busy. We have things to do. We have things to check off the list. We have people to take care of and people who depend on us. And it can sometimes seem selfish to engage in that pause. But mindfulness meditation is really giving ourselves permission to be human, to slow down, and to recenter ourselves. So if you've ever been on an airplane before, they always give this safety message before you take off. And they tell you that if the cabin loses air pressure, air masks are going to drop down from the top of the plane. And they tell you a really important thing. You have to put your air mask on first before you help anybody else. Because if you can't breathe, you're no good to anybody else. So if you aren't centered, if you aren't feeling calm, if you're feeling overwhelmed, you have less to give the people that you care about. You have less to give to your job, to your family, to your work. So it's important that you give yourself permission to take care of yourself, whatever that looks like, remembering that how you take care of yourself, how you meditate might be different than me. Meditation for you might be a morning walk around your farm. It might be visiting your favorite goat and having a moment with that goat every morning. I personally love goats, so that's what I would do if I had a farm. But whatever it is, having that moment of calm. So really meditation is pausing, it's breathing, it's being present. So for me, sometimes meditation is laying on my back on the floor in my house and staring at the ceiling while I notice my breathing for a few minutes. Sometimes meditation is walking around my neighborhood. Sometimes I sit down and I take deep breaths, and I sometimes do a guided meditation, which is another great resource. There are lots of apps and things that you can find online that are guided meditations to help you kind of get into the space of getting calm, because a meditation can be kind of intimidating at first. Sometimes it's intimidating for me, especially if I'm having a day or a week where I'm not feeling well, if I'm sort of mentally or emotionally having a hard time. Pausing and slowing down feels really scary. It feels kind of vulnerable. But you can start small. You don't have to sit down and meditate for 10 minutes at a time. You can start with 1 minute or 2 minutes. You can do techniques like progressive muscle relaxation, where you can sit or lay down on the floor, starting with your feet and your toes, clenching your muscles up, pulling them in tight for just a couple of seconds, and then releasing them and noticing what the muscles in your feet feel like when they're relaxed and calm. And then you can slowly move up your body, tensing the muscles in your legs and letting go and noticing that calm. This is a technique that helps us notice tension being held in our bodies and consciously work to release that tension. Another great technique, one that I personally really love, is visualization. So that is sitting or laying down somewhere, closing my eyes, and sort of just imagining that I'm someplace else. So we'll practice a quick visualization technique together now. So I'll invite you, wherever you are, to close your eyes if you're comfortable, and imagine for a moment that you're at the beach. So while you're at the beach, breathing in and out deeply, start to notice things that you see. Maybe you see waves crashing. Maybe you see birds in the air. Maybe you see boats in the distance or children playing, or maybe you see nobody. Breathing in and out deeply. Next, notice the things that you hear. Maybe you hear seagulls. Maybe you hear the waves crashing. Maybe you can hear the wind blowing across the beach. Taking a deep breath in and out. Next, notice what you smell. Maybe if you're at the ocean, you can smell the salt water. Maybe if you're at one of our great Michigan lakes, you can smell the lake water. Maybe you smell that fresh air blowing on your face. Breathing deeply in and out. Next, notice what you feel. So your physical sensations. Maybe it's how the wind feels blowing across your skin. Maybe you notice the feeling of your clothes on your body. Maybe you notice how the sand feels beneath your feet, whether it's warm or cold, rough and coarse. Breathing in and out deeply. And notice what you feel, your emotions right now. Maybe you're feeling a sense of calm. Maybe you're feeling anxious because this is new and intimidating and weird. Maybe you're feeling happy or worried. Whatever you're feeling, there's no need to judge it. Just notice it. Just give it a name. And taking one more deep breath in and out. And slowly opening your eyes if you had them closed and coming right back to the present moment here where you are. There are so many ways to be mindful. There are so many ways to meditate. And I want to just kind of give you a visual demonstration of why meditation is a really important tool, thinking about our brain development. So I'm an early childhood educator by trade, so I always have a craft. So I'm going to pull up my craft for you here. This is my calming jar, and you can see right now, you can actually see through the water in my jar. You can see my hand through here. So this is my brain right now. Right now, my brain is feeling cool and calm. I can think clearly. I can make good decisions. Everything is great. Now, when I experience a stressor, our body goes into fight, flight, or freeze mode. So essentially, even if you're not in physical danger, your brain reacts as if you are. So what happens is your brain releases cortisol, which is your stress hormone. So now my brain looks like this. So you can't see my hand through the jar, which means I really can't think clearly. I can't make great decisions. I can't make plans for the future. I'm kind of stuck in this fight or flight danger state in my brain. Another way to put it is the amygdala is a part of your brain that's kind of like a bodyguard, like a gatekeeper. So when you're experiencing a lot of stress, what your amygdala does is it essentially shuts down. It closes the door and it goes, whoop, no information, can't do anything else. Right now I'm in survival mode. So when we're in this survival mode, we're not doing great at planning or making big decisions. We're kind of just trying to stay alive, even if our stress isn't a life or death situation. So mindfulness meditation is a great way to help us get our brains back to what I call cool and calm, to get you back centered, to get you back present in the moment, so that you can start to think clearly. You can see the glitter in my jar starting to settle towards the bottom of the jar here. So what happens now is my amygdala opens up, the gate opens up again. Thoughts can come in and out. I can do some higher level thinking because I'm not caught in this survival mode. When we get stuck here, we're kind of in this toxic stress situation where it's really hard to move forward because we're always kind of trying to survive. So mindfulness or meditation, whatever it looks like for you, is a great tool that you can use to help your brain relax. So this isn't just to make us feel better. It's actually to help our brain development too. Physiologically, it's a way to help us get back into that calmer, cooler state. So I encourage you to try different meditation techniques. You can find on the internet some amazing tools to help you meditate. Again, some guided meditations, breathing techniques, visualization. And again, remembering that meditation for you might just be walking outside to your favorite place and sitting in the quiet for just a moment or two and breathing. And that's perfectly okay. It doesn't have to look like people in fancy linen outfits in a nice little studio meditating together with a gong. It can be you on your farm, in your home, right where you are together. And hopefully meditation can be a tool to help you feel cool and calm, to help you manage your stress that you're experiencing now, and also help you learn some techniques to help you respond to stress that comes up for you in ways that can kind of be productive and help you move forward instead of getting kind of stuck in this stress state in your brain. So hopefully that was a helpful demonstration on meditation. I really recommend that you do just some basic Googling if you're interested in learning more. There are a lot of videos and, like I said, some apps with some guided meditations. That is a great place to get started.